It was called the War to End All Wars, a conflict that spanned continents, shattered empires, and forever changed the course of history. World War I, the Great War, began in 1914 and unleashed a storm of violence unlike anything the world had ever seen. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria on 28 June 1914 lit the fuse of a long-simmering powder keg. Europe, divided into alliances and burdened by imperial ambitions, was ready for war. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, igniting a chain reaction among the great powers. On one side stood the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. On the other, the Allied powers, including France, Russia, and the United Kingdom. Soon, much of the world would be dragged into the conflict. One of the most enduring images of World War I is trench warfare. Soldiers on both sides were trapped in a brutal and deadly stalemate, with trenches stretching for hundreds of miles across the Western Front. Life in the trenches was a living nightmare. Soldiers endured constant bombardments, machine gun fire, poison gas attacks, and the ever-present threat of disease. Thousands of lives were lost to gain just a few feet of land. World War I saw the introduction of new weapons and tactics that would forever change how wars were fought. The tank, still in its infancy, rolled across the battlefield, while airplanes became essential for reconnaissance and aerial combat. But it was the introduction of chemical weapons, like mustard gas, that brought a new level of horror to the war. Thousands of soldiers suffered agonizing deaths, their lungs destroyed by poison gas. Though much of the fighting took place in Europe, World War I was truly global. The colonies of European powers were drawn into the conflict as soldiers from Africa, India, and beyond fought on foreign battlefields.
This is a now-it-can-be-told story. 4:25 in the Mediterranean on the afternoon.
The war also extended to the seas. The German policy of unrestricted submarine warfare brought nations like the United States into the conflict after their ships were sunk by U-boats.
Lives.
In 1917, the United States entered the war, providing a fresh infusion of troops and resources to the Allies. The arrival of American soldiers helped to turn the tide of the war and led to a series of offensives that weakened the Central Powers. By late 1918, the Central Powers were collapsing. On 11 November 1918, the guns fell silent as an armistice was signed, bringing an end to the fighting. But the cost of the war was unimaginable. Over 16 million people died, and millions more were left physically and emotionally scarred. Europe was devastated, its landscapes and cities in ruins. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 officially ended the war, but its harsh terms imposed on Germany would fuel resentment and contribute to the outbreak of another global conflict just 20 years later, World War II. World War I was supposed to be the war to end all wars, but its lessons remain relevant today. We remember those who fought and died in the hope that such a conflict will never be repeated. In memory of the millions lost in World War I. Lest we forget.